How's it going, YouTube? It's been a while since I posted a video. Today's going to be a little bit of a change up. Instead of the typical outdoor activities, we have a different type of outdoor activity today. We're going to be doing some maple sap collection. I'm here with Miles. Benai is going to be joining us again. You should be familiar with those two if you've been following this channel a little bit. Miles' grandpa is also going to be helping us out today, as well as his other son. So Miles is going to give us a little intro here, kind of give us the rundown of what we're going to be doing today. We're kind of in a halfway point of the whole maple syrup sap collection process, but Miles will be able to explain that pretty well for you. So stay tuned. All right, Miles, what we got going on today?
Well, we are going to collect some more sap. We tapped our trees a few days ago. We're running out of storage. So what we've got going on here is a reverse osmosis. This is the RO bucket, and what it does is it takes your sap from roughly 2% sugar content to 4, and then if you run it through again, it'll take it up to 8, which cuts down on your boiling time. So long story short, we just changed out the membrane, so I'm just kind of flushing the system with regular well water. This is RO water that comes out, then I'm recirculating the RO water to flush it, and then we're just getting ready to hook it up to a barrel of sap that we have, because we're going to need that barrel to collect. So while we're collecting, we're going to run that through. So I'm just getting ready to actually I'm just going to do it right now. Move this inside, and because right now this is just dry run. It's just, like I said,
regular water,
well water. And we're going to take this into the sap.
So what's this bucket going to end up being?
This is going to be 99.9% pure water.
All right, and then this bucket right here, barrel, is full of...
It's full of sap, roughly. I measured it last night, so everyone says 2% on average. It was right around 2.3% is what I checked it at with a sap hydrometer last night.
Come around.
You can see the sugar. So this goes in here, and what we're actually going to do this time, this is an added thing, I don't really need that. But I might keep it on because it adds a little bit of weight to keep it in there. So, set that there. Power cord.
Hey, Benaya.
Plug her in. And so what we got right now, once this gets fired up,
It's drawing the sap, pulling the sap through the RO system, separating all the impurities, which is going to be actually this
sweetened sap.
Sweetened sap.
This is 99.9% pure water. Like, it's the opposite of what you have basically in your under your kitchen sink in a home RO system. So this right here is going to be, once I change this needle valve, adjusts it so it starts diverting all of the sap, the raw sap, through the membranes. And as I start to turn this needle valve, we got a little interruption. Yeah, we got a little needle valve that turns it down, and you'll see the flow start to go down. And that once you starts going down, that's the lower the flow, the higher the concentration of sugar. You can hear the membranes or the pump start to labor. So now this is sweeter. This is sap. Sap, and then that's water. That's water. So the water's supposed to be about 50-50. 50% over here, 50% flow here for the life of the filter, or the membranes.
What kind of filters are they? Special?
They're just RO membranes. It's a higher or a smaller membrane, essentially.
Yep, and then we're just going to let this run.
And
eventually, this is going to come down in level, and it'll be more concentrated down about here. Or about 1/3 of the barrel, depending on how the results come out.
And then our high-tech way, yeah, when I say go, our high-tech way of checking to see if it's 50-50 is, all right, ready? 1, 2, 3. is to see which one fills up the fastest, and then we adjust the needle valve accordingly.
Got a little race going on.
So it looks like we're a little bit heavy on the on the permeate right now, which is the way you want it to be. You don't want it to be more than 50%. So I'm gonna adjust this just a little bit more. All right, go ahead and dump that, bud.
This ain't what you're looking for, is it?
Nope, that's a jump rope. We'll try it again. Ready, bud? 1, 2, 3. It gets touchy once you get close to about 50-50.
This is barely coming out.
Turn it down a little bit more.
Wait, you're turning the wait.
Not too much. No doubt.
This is our little bucket system we have to collect the sap from the trees. Like Miles mentioned, he had already tapped all these trees. So all we're doing is coming up. Benaiah, why don't you show us how to do it?
Okay.
I got the bucket for you.
Pour it right in
Just like that. Look at all that tree blood. And you're hanging it right here on the tap. So I want to show people, see how it's dripping?
Yeah.
So, pure sugar water. Well, like 2% sugar.
Yeah.
Tastes sweet?
Yeah.
There you go.
You want to try some?
Yeah, I'll have some. Not bad.
Yeah.
And then that'll refill. We have this whole forest to get through. So that's our sap hauler. Getting all these. Want to grab that bag? Pour in the bucket. And then I'll and we're already on our second barrel. This one is filled all the way to about right there. So Miles, how long have these trees been tapped?
24 hours, a little more than 24 hours.
So far this is our 24-hour harvest. Look at that. A couple more down that way yet.
Out here we figured about 23, and then 42 over there, so somewhere around 65, 66.
65, but right here we have a barrel and a half full out of
22 or 23.
22 or 23 within 24 hours of them being tapped.
This is just checking what we're at so far on this
Sugar.
concentrate. So after a short time, we're at like 2.8. We went from 2.2, 2.3 to 2.7, 2.8. So we went up.
That's the wastewater since we started. It's only been about half an hour or so, a little over half an hour. And it's right about there on the barrel.
Sure?
That one. Yeah, that one's full. So
Hold this way. Very careful.
you're gonna get a fresh read on what we just collected.
See what says not all trees or woods will produce the same sugar content. This is
There some
from the home
secret to
farm.
this thing, Miles?
You gotta want it.
And no air will come out of it.
I'm guessing right in the 2.2 range.
Can't really zoom in that well on it.
It's like I'd call it 2.3, 2.4. About 2.4.
2.4.
It's bouncing right between 2.3. There's 2.2, 2.4. Nah, it's about 2.3.
2.3.
About 2.3. So about the same as the other
Yeah.
trees.
So now out of this full barrel of 2.3, 30, call it 33, 34 gallons, how much processed maple syrup will you get out of that?
That'll be just under a gallon.
So just under a gallon of ready to eat, put on your delicious pancakes, a gallon of maple syrup right here.
That's right. All right, we got an old angry man over here. Let me see that.
Recording.
All right, so we're gonna get ready. We're getting ready to tap some trees, and then we got our sap sack holders and our sap sacks, and we just have to assemble it a little bit. Slide the bag underneath this ring. Fold the bag over. Make sure you pull like 4 inches at least, maybe a little bit more. Some people will try to keep as much volume as possible and they'll just barely fold it over, but I'll show you why that's a bad idea in a second. You want to pull quite a bit of bag through. Yeah, you lose a little bit of volume, but it's better than losing the whole bag onto the ground. So at the minimum, you want this underside lip of this sap sack holder to grab the ring. So you get a good overlap, squeeze that a little bit, push it inside, and then your last step is to squeeze this together and pull the bag to make sure it catches the lip, and you want there to be a little flap, because that's the way you know that the bag is being held by that ring and gravity. And that is an assembled sap sack holder, and then we're going to drill into the tree this way. Pretend the tree's on this side. Drill the hole, pound that in, and then this ring goes right behind over that washer.
Pretty simple.
That's it.
All right, let's find some trees to tap.
Alrighty.
All right, Miles, tell us about tree selection.
All right, tree selection, hard to explain as far as how you know it's a maple, other than maples have what's called opposite branching, which means if you look at this, the little branches are exactly on other sides. They kind of mirror each other, and not they're just because, like, for example, this one doesn't have one on the other side, but if it does have opposite branching, then you know that it's a maple. If it has what's called alternate, so here's another one. You look at a few different examples opposite. You find one that has alternate branching. These are all maples, so I can't really show you. It's like staggered. So the branch, it'll have a branch here, then here, then here. Those are automatically, you know, they're not maples. Bark is kind of a thing that you have to look at because the older trees look different than the younger.
Wait,
but,
so this is the maple?
But generally speaking, you look at the top of the tree, the crown, and if it's got like that opposite branching, then there's a good chance it's a maple. The box elders have that, so do ash trees. And then we want a minimum like 14-inch in diameter tree and for one tap, and then for every 8 to 10 inches, and additionally we can add another tap. But this is just a one tapper.
Okay. Now, what about height from the ground? Is that?
So height from the ground isn't a big deal, as far as you just kind of want it easy to take off right in your power zone. Then angle of the tap is the other thing. You want to be on just a slight downward angle, not extreme. You don't want to be up, because what happens if you do it up, the sap will drip out, but it'll drip back along the washer, and then it'll drip kind of down the tree, and it'll miss the bag. So if you just slight downward angle, will keep the sap dripping right out of the tip of the tap.
All right, show us how it's done.
So then we'll go, and then also depending on the tree, the older tree you'll go up to about 2.5 inches deep. Younger trees, you don't need to go quite as deep. You can go anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2. No need to go deeper into the tree than absolutely necessary. So that's about 90 degrees. Go a little bit down, drill in once, pull it out, clean it out. You can see the sap is already starting to run down. We'll hit it one more time, and then you can see it coming out.
Hammer?
We use a for these 5/16 taps, we use a 1964 drill bit. You can use a 5/16, but so I don't hold the end of the hander. You don't want to just wham that in. You just get it in till it starts to ring a little bit more, and now it's coming out. So we're gonna.
And you can lick it, or not lick it, but you can get it.
Yeah, Benaya's been.
The kids like to get underneath and collect the sap with their mouths as opposed to with a bag. But the only downside with these sap sack holders, or the main downside, is if it's windy and there's no sap in, you risk them blowing off. But sometimes I'll find a stick or something to wedge in there. That'll hold it until some sap.
Rock.
Rock.
So now this tree, obviously, we can get 2 taps
Yeah,
on.
this would be like a 3 tap, or some people might tap more. This tree's got really thick bark, so we're gonna go deeper into this tree. So 90 down. You can see the first little bit, you're just drilling through bark. So you gotta go we'll go probably 3. That's about 2.5 inches, and here she comes.
These are slightly different taps.
Yeah, these are meant for tubing, but they'll do the same thing. You got a check valve, you can see that. You can hear it. You don't want to go too hard, you want to break the tap or crack the tree. Right. Put it on here. Pull down.
Oh, Daddy, it's not on there. It's not dripping in there. It's not dripping in the bag.
Thank you, buddy. You gotta get it a little, you gotta finagle it a little bit with these.
It's in. There, no.
Hold on, buddy.
It was. There.
Here we go.
Filling up.
We'll do another one.
It's really windy.
Blowing right now. So, well.
Now, does it matter which side of the tree, whether it's north facing, south facing,
I say no.
east,
Some
west?
people say south because it gets more sun, but I've tapped both sides and I haven't seemed to notice a difference. Some people will, but I have not noticed a difference.
Maybe not for our Michigan climate. Who knows? Personal preference.
It's fine.
Well, I want a place where I can get this tap a little closer. All right, she's pouring, so that's plenty deep. But I'm gonna clean it out just a little bit.
Well, look, there's a nest of eggs, or nest of ants.
Yeah.
That's fine, I think. All you just want it to do is seal off the hole. You don't need to really wedge it in there.
Yep.
Pull this down. Do this a little better.
Nice. It's in.
And there she's going. You can see her
Filling on up.
coming off.
What?
That's our very last tap. We're all tapped in. That's about 67 taps, I think. 68 maybe.
Right on. So next time, we're gonna collect a bunch of those blue bags. Not sure if you can see them on the GoPro. Collect these bags here in a few minutes, and then either tomorrow or sometime this weekend, we're gonna do a boil and make some syrup. So we'll make sure we capture that on film as well. Show you that process.
Alrighty. So what we have here is some magic special sauce, aka grass-fed butter. Doesn't have to be grass-fed. We have a pan that is starting to over foam. We're just gonna barely touch this butter knife to the butter, and we're going to perform a trick.
The butter just brings down
It just dissipates the surface tension. When it's really close to syrup, it doesn't do it quite as fast. If you do this in like the sat pan, it's like immediate. Obviously you can see it drop pretty darn quick, but down there it's like BAM!
Gotcha.
It's like you pop a balloon open.
You're on.
Alrighty, so we left off at the reverse osmosis, which concentrated the sap. We took that sap and we put it into this barrel, this bulk tank. Comes into this hose, down into here, come over here. We got a little preheater. It goes up this copper coil, down into this float box. And then what we have here is a float. This regulates automatically the level of sap that's going into the pan. So if this is full, it'll push up and it'll close off this valve. When it evaporates, it'll drop and feed in, and it's like a maze in here. Comes in here, goes here, comes around this way, goes in. There's a valve, there's a hose on the other side if you look over here, Nick.
Yep.
And in this current configuration, it comes out of here, goes into this pan, goes out this silver hose that's on the back side, into here, and then this is the syrup pan where it's the most concentrated. and this gauge right here, when it gets, so it's on a scale, it's not calibrated currently, but supposedly 0 is 212 degrees boiling point, and then 7 degrees over that is syrup. Today we're drawing off actually right around 4. That's what syrup is, and we confirmed that with this hydrometer. You open up this valve, fill it up, and you drop this calibrated hydrometer into it, and this red line is the hot test. And if it floats, the red line goes above the syrup, then that's how you know it's syrup. If it sinks below, then you know it's too thin. But once that hits there and we test it, we'll find our temperature for the day, and then we'll draw this off, open this valve slowly into a half-gallon mason jar, and then we will leave that open until this temperature starts to drop. And once it drops, we'll close the valve, and then we'll wait for it to get back up again.
Right on.
All right, get up close on this, check on the valve. So we're up to, or the thermometer, we're up to about 5. Syrup's right around 4, 4.5 today. So I'm gonna just crack this valve. And what we got here is basically the finished product minus filtering. But that's your full concentration syrup, maple syrup, right off the tap.
And then you basically just...
We let this, keep this valve open at a slow pace until this thermometer needle just starts to drop. Once it drops below 4, then we'll close her down and we'll wait for the next draw. But everything that we get here is, that's your end product minus filtering and bottling into smaller bottles. You don't even really technically have to filter it if you want it to look perfectly clear though. To get that fine syrup, sugar sand out, then you filter it. But I mean, in theory, you could bottle this and put it on your pancakes. You wouldn't even know the difference.